Welcome to the Indiana 4-H Clover Call podcast, where our goal is to share information about the people and programs that make the Indiana 4-H Youth Development Program such an important part of our communities. We welcome youth and adult 4-H volunteers, 4-H youth and their families, extension professionals, and any others who are interested in providing positive opportunities for youth. We thank you for joining us for this episode, which begins now.
I would like to welcome everybody to another edition of the Indiana State 4-H Clover Call podcast. I'm Adam Tyler. I'm a 4-H educator in Fountain County. And today I'm fortunate to be joined by Julie Gray. And Julie, just so everybody gets to know you, could you tell us what area you're in and what counties you oversee?
Sure, Adam. Thank you. It's a pleasure to join you. So I work, imagine the state of Indiana. I work with Indianapolis or Marion County and all the counties that circle around Indianapolis. We call those here in central Indiana, the donut counties. So they include Boone County or Lebanon and Zionsville, Indiana, Hamilton County, Fishers, Carmel, that area, Hancock County to the east, Shelby County, Shelbyville, Johnson County, which is Greenwood and Franklin, Indiana, Morgan County, Martinsville, and Hendricks County, which is where I'm speaking to you today. I live in Hendricks County or Avon, Indiana.
Awesome. Yeah, you have some of the big counties, that's for sure.
We do. We have a very urban and suburban area, which is interesting. I think we'll talk a little bit about 4-H and later on, or about what's happening. So yeah.
Yep. Awesome. So just so the listeners can get to know a little bit more about you, what is your background in extension and what led you to become an area director?
Sure. So formally, by training, I am a dietitian. I did my undergraduate and master's work in dietetics and human nutrition with Ball State. So I'm a Ball State alumni. And I've been, Adam, with Purdue Extension since 1988. And so I spent pretty much most of my career up until the last 7 years as an extension educator in Indianapolis and Marion County in a very urban setting. And during that time that I was in Indianapolis, I did lots of different things, but I spent the majority of my time working with the Supplemental Nutrition Act program, or the SNAP program. And so I did quite a bit of supervision and working with people and goal setting. Also did quite a bit of, a traditional role as an HHS educator, teaching Serve Safe, doing programs on nutrition. Also spent time as county extension director. So that's my background in extension. I have been an area director since 2015. And so did you ask me what led me to be an area director, or just what my background is? So what led me to be an area director? I guess for me, Adam, it was really had a lot to do with, I just really enjoy extension. I was a person who did not know what extension was. I found my job quite by accident. I was not in 4-H. My mom was not in homemakers. I grew up in Muncie, Indiana, kind of a suburban area. Resources and what we did, and through the job that I had over the years, I really just found that many people didn't know the full depth and breadth of what extension did. They may come to us in a lens from the 4-H arena, or maybe as a master gardener, or have been touched through community development or the work that we might do around parenting. So I really wanted to do what I could to attract people into the organization and help our staff just grow and have a career that they've enjoyed as much as I do in extension, because I never really saw myself when I was a college kid coming to extension, but I'm sure glad that I did.
That's awesome. So if you had to pick, what's one of the most favorite things you can say, since you've been an area director, what's the most favorite thing about being an area director you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, the simple answer is the people. I
Yep.
mean, I think that's why we all do it. We
Yep.
are in the people business.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And the relationship building never ends. And I guess that's what I would say, Adam, is the relationship building. We continually form and reestablish and massage the relationships that we have with people. And that's appealing to me. I guess what I would also just clarify with extension, it really is that every day brings a whole new set of things to do. It's always exciting and challenging. No day is the same.
Yeah.
I'll tell you kind of one of the things that I never expected in this job is the amount of reading that we do, and the degree to which we do communications. We do a lot of written and oral communications, and so I like that. But I don't think that's what many people realize. May not know that we do. We do a lot of reading. I do a lot of reading.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's you come into it and you have your expertise area, but you do find yourself a lot of times and I do this in 4-H or A&R and any of the stuff. It's like, yeah, you find yourself reading, but it's neat. We still get to learn too. And I think and that is fun. And that's interesting. So we can become lifelong learners with those we get to serve. And that's a neat part of this job for sure.
It is. It is. I learn something every day. That is exactly right, Adam. Yeah. Yeah. Very true.
So from a 4-H standpoint, what are some, I know you have like you said, some very large counties, and I know some very large 4-H programs in those areas, but what are some exciting 4-H things that are going on in your area? Would you like to let our listeners know about, or just kind of share about your area?
Well, of course. I mean, yes, 4-H. We in the greater Indianapolis area, we have 4-H. We do. We're having right now. We're into the mini camps, the day camps, the overnight camps, and of course, we're coming into the 1 week out of the year that we are highly showcased, which is the county fair. But yeah, I mean, we have the opportunities. I think about a lot of our spark clubs, the kind of what I would call the special interest clubs, where we may do something. I was reading just yesterday about a floriculture club where we had the youth were exposed to a place that was growing the flowers, and then they did flower arranging, they did terrarium making, they followed up then with the workforce development of visiting a local florist and seeing what all that involved. We've had some cool things. We have an NFL referee who lives in Johnson County. So as part of the junior leaders, this NFL referee came and talked to them about the behind the scenes, what it's like to be an NFL referee and what that involves. And so really just a lot of career exploration. I know it's the same thing that educators are doing in, the other 85 counties around the state, but we do some things here around spark clubs related to working in the construction industry. So, getting into math and looking at, what are things that youth can be doing beyond that formal high school education. Oh my gosh, I could just go on. We had a traditional, so we have a dog club in a county that every year does a community cat and dog vaccine clinic and brings in veterinarians. So I'm not so sure that what we do is different. It may be how we do it and where we do it that's just slightly different. Just still all about what the kids want and getting that led by a volunteer, kind of that experiential learning, Adam. So I don't know if that's the answer you were looking for.
Yeah, I think it's neat, and that's been the fun of just getting to work with each of the area directors that we've been able to interview, just to hear like you said, we all kind of have a similar idea across the state, but it's so neat to see the differences in how some of the different programs are done and the different audiences and how we reach people. And it's really neat for them to hear, especially from your area. It might not be, it is a little bit more of an urban, it's not like some of the rural communities, some of the others we've interviewed. but just so people can see the wide diversity of what we offer and how we offer it and how we meet the needs of so many across the state. And I love that. And
Yeah.
I think that's a neat thing. And, and I love that our audience is going to be able to hear that 4-H is so much more, and we do reach such a large, diverse audience. And that's an awesome thing about this program for sure. So I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, that was definitely very interesting for sure with that.
Yeah, we have in Indianapolis, the Indianapolis office being so large, actually has satellite offices. And so we have our youth staff member who works in a youth maker space in Indianapolis.
Okay.
That is part of a technological park. And so the youth are coming in there and they're learning to use 3D printing, of course, but it's all on a very large scale. And they're using I don't even know the terminology, but these laser cutters that make these beautiful signs that you program it in, and the water jets just cut all that stuff, and power tools and all of that kind of stuff. So anyway, we could spend our entire time talking about that, Adam. So I'll be still.
I love that stuff, and it's neat to hear. And hopefully if other educators hear and other volunteers, if they hear what you all are offering, maybe they'll, that way they can get in touch with you and maybe even learn even more. So, they might get, listening to this podcast today, they gain a new resource. So I love it. So that's an awesome thing to share. So if you think about 4-H, and I know, like you said, you've been with Extension for, quite a few years, but where do you see, from your perspective, 4-H going over the next several years? And as an area director, kind of what goals do you have as far as where you want 4-H specifically in your area to go also?
That's a great question. I think, Adam, for me, it's in many ways, the simple answer is doing what we've always done. And that is just helping kids have the skills to become successful adults. And so how has that changed, and where do I see 4-H going? I think what we're going to continue to do is offer the information and the programs around what young people are interested in, whether that's computers, drones, but we're really helping them prepare them, as I said earlier, for the adult phase of their life, what comes after high school, and so that they can be contributors and productive leaders within their communities. And so my goals as an area director for 4-H are very similar. We're really trying to make sure that the voice of the youth are heard. We're really trying to make 4-H simpler, making it fun. And so what we need to do, or our goals are, we need to be adapting. We are always changing the way that we do things. And I know that may seem frustrating at sometimes. We are just trying to make sure that everyone is able to keep up and to be timely and be relevant. That's my wish for Extension. And for folks, I want to circle back to it, for it to be fun and for us to learn. That's really what I would say, quite simply.
That's awesome. And I just again want to thank you, Julie, for sharing today and just taking your time to spend with us on the podcast today and letting the listeners get to know you a little bit more and know a little bit more about your area. And I just, and I love the fact that this podcast allows for an opportunity for them to see, a wider picture of what all we do across the state, and, how we are doing so many neat things and reaching such a wide audience. And that's a great thing. And it's great to, to share that with our across the state, what 4-H is and the great things we're doing each and every day. So again, I just thank you very much for today. And I just want to thank all of our listeners for joining in on our podcast today. And we appreciate you taking your time to listen to the Indiana State Clover Call podcast. And again, I'm Adam Tyler with Fountain County, and I'm a 4-H educator there. And I appreciate your time, and we wish you a very good and happy day. Thank you.
Interested in learning more about Indiana 4-H? We invite you to visit our website, extension.purdue.edu/4H, or contact your local Purdue Extension office and ask for the 4-H Youth Development Extension Educator. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you won't miss an episode. We look forward to joining you again on the next Indiana 4-H Clover Call.